Dynamite download.
Was a women's tag team tournament. Now this is a mock tournament that we're coming up with Dynamite Download, and it's kind of been a hot topic with us, and rumored a lot online, and just talking about if they're ever going to bring a women's tag team division, aka tag team titles. And so we just went ahead with it and ran with it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put it out there, and we're going to make our own women's tag team tournament. It's going to be 8 teams competing to win the inaugural women's tag team championship belts. And internally, we've come up with a couple different brackets. And Mindrunner and myself tonight we're going to create round 1. We're going to create the initial 8 teams of our women's tag team tournament. And then every single week we'll go to one more round, and then we'll announce the inaugural winners of the women's tag team tournament. Tony Khan and the team, we know they're watching, so they're going to take all of our advice, and they're going to book this to the T the way we book it too here at DD. So I'll let you share your screen, Mindrunner, and we're going to talk it through and go from there.
And we cannot confirm or deny that the winning team will get their own pair of replica belts. They might be this big, but we'll set them up. Now, I went ahead, and again, we want to hear your feedback. So, you guys in the YouTube chat, or you folks in the Twitter chat or X chat, sorry, and Instagram folks, let us know in the chat. Well, what are your thoughts on this? What teams would you like to see? I went ahead and started off with Mercedes Martinez and Diamante because that's kind of a team that I thought they're already built together. They've been crushing it on Ring of Honor, and they're both two that are familiar, that AEW is very familiar with. So I kind of put them in the rank as an example, but I can remove them. Again, when you're building a tournament, you kind of want your strongest teams on opposite sides, with the thought that they are likely to face off in the finals. But there's always upset, as we know. And anytime we filled out a bracket, we know that sometimes the sure things are not the sure things. So, I think let's go them in this spot?
Let's go, top left 2, and then we'll move over to the top right. So we'll go back forth like zigzag. But yeah, I think as you mentioned that, I think why don't we revisit that awesome no DQ match with those teams that you have there? Keep there. Martinez and Diamante versus Willow and Stat. And, first round rematch with with that brutal match. And I think you have a really nice team that's starting to form and pick up some momentum with Willow and Statlander. And then it would be fun to kick that first round off with a rematch. What do you think?
That'd be such a brutal match. I think that'd be tremendous. There's already bad blood. Yeah. They've already shown that they can really bring it. I think that's a great matchup. And I think that would be a hard one to call as far as who's going to pull, especially when you get Stokely Hathaway in the mix. If Stokely's messing around, what's his deal? Is he going to be causing, because he's already trying to drive a rift between Willow and Statlander. So there is that mystery. Most of us would be pretty sure that it would be Stat and Willow coming out. I don't know in the chat if you agree, but there's always that Stokely factor. Stokely's always up to something. So
you're right.
That's somebody to keep your eye on.
Now let's move over to the other side of the tournament, other side of the bracket. We can call them, blue and red or A and B, whatever it may be. But for now, we'll call it that right side there. I think the first team that comes to mind, which, we talked about in Thunder, was the double gold. That's Sky Blue and Julia Hart. They've been really seeming to have each other's back. And as much as I've really enjoyed Julia Hart's run so far, I think like the tag team titles with her buddy Julia Hart and Sky Blue together would be a lot of fun to see them kind of walk away with some gold as well. So I think that tag team as the right side, we'll call it A and B, the B group to kick things off over there would be an exciting team. Now, who would you?
And just to let everybody know, we're open to any champions, because you can have more than one. You can have tag team champions and singles gold. So we're not excluding people because they're champions, they're singles champions.
Exactly. Now, who would you want to
I like
see
that.
them go against in the first round? What are some teams that
Well,
you could
see,
possibly see?
this is without really sounding terrible because they're both outstanding wrestlers, but this is kind of where you're going to want to put in a decent team, but you're probably going to want them to take the L. A couple of thoughts I've had. I thought, this is where you could put kind of like a Yuka Sakazaki Rio team,
Mm-hmm.
or you could put Tai J and because I don't know, but see, I'm not even sure. We're assuming non-injury. We're assuming
Right.
everybody's back, right?
Yes.
This is barring any not delay in coming back, or I'm a mom now, I'm not going to wrestle for a while, that kind of thing. So
Sure.
I would either consider a Tai J
Sure.
or a team of Rio and Yuka Sakazaki, or a Kira Hogan Red Velvet team to put right there.
Yeah. I would like
Let's
to see. What are you going for?
let's just look at what it would look like with a Red Velvet Kira Hogan, or would you want a Tai J in that spot?
Well, I'm thinking babyface versus heel. And yeah, honestly, if we did Tay J, because they have a little history based on that homecoming show as well. And so
Yep.
thinking of the topics right now, a Tay J would be kind of a nice feud. And then for that. So I'm good with that.
And see, the thing is Ty was kind of Ty and Anna Jay were both kind of heelish when she left for maternity, but they've kind of by de facto Anna Jay with the the Brody Lee tribute, and kind of her position, she's kind of in a limbo right now.
Right.
She's kind of become a de facto face, and with Ty
Right.
J now as Mommy Ty J and Mommy Ty. Yeah, I think they're going to come out. I think that she would get cheers if she came out
Yeah. No,
as
I think
so I think
Ty
that's a
Conti
good.
would definitely get some pops for sure, especially Sammy getting
Yeah.
pops as well. So the especially the fans and everyone was really excited
Mm-hmm.
for both of them when they announced that news. All right, moving back to the
Absolutely.
A brackets. So I want to see the Outcasts in there. So
All right, Outcasts.
yes, Outcasts are going to be in there, which is Soraya and Ruby Soho. And I'm just looking at
Mm-hmm.
my notes on my side here. And who's a good like babyface team that we could? No, I would do the Rio.
I would do I actually would consider the that would be a good Kira Hogan Red Velvet, but um I have thoughts
Okay.
on Soraya and Ruby, but here we go. You can put here's Rio and Yuka Sakazaki.
Yeah.
I like this matchup. I think this would work really well. And then we would eventually build to like and the winner of this would take on this team. So so at some point in this tournament, whether it's during this match or in the semifinals or whatever the next bracket, they're already teasing a breakup between Saraya and Ruby Soho
Right.
on the count of Harley Cameron. And so somehow I think either during this match or the next one, somehow Harley's going to somehow set a chain of events that causes Ruby to get pinned.
Mm,
And then Soraya's going to blame Ruby,
okay.
calling her the weak link, but Ruby's going to be saying, no, it wasn't my fault. It was Harley Cameron. And then
Yeah.
now you've got your feud, which I
Right.
think that's what that's what I feel like they're building to. So
Yeah.
whether we pull it, whether we start it here or it happens here and we advance Riho and Yuka, or do we advance the Outcasts, but then
Yeah.
the
Food for
next
thought for
round
sure.
that whoever they face, yeah. So that's a good. I think that's a good matchup.
Next, I mean, goes without a doubt, the returning DMD and Hater have to be in this tournament. I think,
Yes,
obviously both are former champs and could be thrown into the world title picture immediately. But the Tony Storm world title picture right now is definitely doing its job and doing good. I mean, in the future, if we were talking in months from now, you could see Tony and Mariah May as a team. But I think they're all tied up with something more important. I think having these teams that are not necessarily tied up in an amazing or like a, definite program at the moment, this is a good time for the inaugural champions to potentially be DMD and Hater. And, going against them is, man, it could be a lot of
I
people.
think this would be. Here's the thing. I do like the team of Red Velvet and Kiera Hogan.
Okay.
My question is this, and we don't know the backstage stuff, but for a couple issues I have with the IWC and just kind of, and I think sometimes we can't help it. All of us were human. A lot of times I think wrestlers, they'll see the 10 worst things on the internet said about them and miss the thousands of compliments. But that's human nature. I'll hear the one criticism like, oh, you dumb, that kind of thing. But I don't understand where Britt's coming from, that the fans have spoken. They want less Britt Baker. We want more Britt Baker. I mean, just about every AEW fan that I've talked to, they want that. But I also refuse to believe that you're either a Britt Baker fan or a Thunder Rosa fan. I think you and I agree. We're both. We're huge fans. And one of the, just like we're talking about the Hangman Swerve feud, it sounds one of the best feuds in the women's division of all time has been Thunder versus Britt.
You're right.
Having said that, it does sound like there's some real personal behind the scenes stuff between the two of them. Okay. The question is, if they could put that past each other and be professional and have a professional match, I would actually have Thunder and another partner, like Thunder and Red Velvet, take on Britt and Hater. And that would sell this tournament as, for the first time in years, Thunder and Britt are going to be face to face.
I think that's got to be main event stuff. That's got to be not a round one thing. I would love to revisit that feud 100%. I know Crayfish is salivating thinking that and not being able to talk to us all about that. But I think the last team, it's so hard because they're, if we were to talk about this a year ago, it would have been hard to book a tag team tournament, in my opinion. Now I feel like it's so easy and you're almost running out of teams. I think you got to put Nyla and Shafir in there versus that. I would want to see Beast versus Beast in terms of Hater versus Nyla. And then you have 3 former champions in round 1. That's kind of like a nice marquee marketing to kick things off the tournament. We have 3 former champions in the ring all together. And that way, there's history with all of them, Nyla with both of them. So I like that team. What do you think about that, Mindrunner?
I actually think here's the thing you have to consider. We're booking this in a vacuum, right?
Right.
We're booking this in a vacuum that we're not paying attention to. We're not paying attention to what's going on, like singles feuds. We're not paying attention to what's going on in Ring of Honor, because if we factor Ring of Honor, they're building to a Nyla versus Athena feud. Now, granted, that Athena could show up and cost Nyla the match. I also think that
cross promotion needed.
I think they're spinning their wheels with Marina Shafir. I mean, my old armchair booking still holds true. Marina Shafir needs to be in a faction, perhaps LFI. I think BCC it'd be interesting, but she's just kind of spinning her wheels, and I think that they can really do something with her. I can see Nyla and Marina, because you do kind of want a quote unquote heel team.
Yes.
My other proposal, though, because here's the thing: one of the things that made the Continental Classic exciting was we didn't know who was going to win. There wasn't a clear, there were so many stacked people, and one could argue that we do that with this. I'm gonna leave these guys here, but I'm gonna propose an alternate team. And since we already have Julia Hart in, Mariah May, Tony Storm. Now, here's the thing: just like you were saying about Thunder Rosa and Britt would be a would be a what's it called? Thunder Rosa and Britt would be a main event thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's something we could put, you know, Thunder Rosa with Abaddon, or Thunder Rosa with Red Velvet, or Thunder Rosa with somebody. But why not have Tony Storm, Mariah May? They lose, and of course Mariah takes the heat for costing Tony Storm the match. Could be something to do.
Given the
Deonna
landscape,
Purrazzo could also,
yeah. I think given the landscape, especially, obviously there's people on this tournament that aren't currently actively wrestling, but I think to give more eyes, I like the way you're going with that. So, you know, as much as I'd want to see like a heel team versus DMD and Hater, which in this tournament I would like to see DMD return to her heel form, maybe after winning it, or maybe not winning it, or coming close and turning heel. I like it. Tony Storm and Mariah May tag team, you know, someone that admires Tony, but Tony's not necessarily all in, but she's been coming to help save her time and time again. And then eventually, you know, like you said, costs her the match and they lose because Mariah, and, you know, Mariah's chasing after her, trying to say sorry. So I think the storyline's there, and it wouldn't do any harm to a loss to Tony, because then you're just shifting back into a program. And with their promo work as of late, it could really hype up the tournament. So I'm for it.
Now, if we actually factor in injuries and leave of absence and whatnot,
Right.
we could actually make the same argument for Thunder Rosa and actually put her instead of Ty J. We could put Thunder Rosa in somebody, and then the second round, you still want to build some excitement with the second round.
True.
Then it's gonna. So like, let's just play around for a moment and consider Thunder Rosa, the graveyard shift from the graveyards of Tijuana, Thunder Rosa, Abaddon, and let's just pretend since we're playing, you know, armchair booking, let's say this happens.
Right.
Now our second round is looking pretty good. This is just what I'm proposing.
Right.
So I think that that's something to think about. If we remove Ty J, and we put instead Thunder Rosa, because again, going back to the thing that made the Continental Classic, that turned me around 180 degrees on the Continental Classic, was the stock. Like when Tony Khan first announced it, I was like, oh, are you kidding me? Another tournament? Then he explained the way it's going to go down. I was like, okay, it's some goofy thing. Maybe it'll be fine. But remember, everybody poo-pooed the Royal Rumble until they had the first Royal Rumble, and then everybody loved it. The same thing with this Continental Classic. I was poo-pooing it until first they announced the wrestlers are going to be in it, and it's like, wait, all these badasses are going to be in this Continental Classic?
Right.
I think we need to stack this tournament with some real deals.
A tournament, especially a new one without Thunder, would be a shame not to have. So whether it be Abaddon, which I know you absolutely love Abaddon, or Red Velvet as the partner, I think it makes most sense as of late, because she already paired up with Abaddon to put Abaddon. So I think that we do that. Let's do it. You go all in. Don't give us like half-ass bookings. You know, some of the tournaments that we've seen before, it's kind of like, what? With this, you do have to put all your chips on the table, I think, to really knock it out of the park. And so Thunder Rosa for sure, whichever you feel like would be best partner fit, I'm for that.
Well, and now if we do again factor in other things going on, like Ring of Honor, Nyla's involved in a feud with Athena.
Yeah.
Abaddon is also she's now been prominent in Ring of Honor ever since her loss to the Instagram witch. So she's been kind of there. So I think it could go either way. You either go Red Velvet or Abaddon. Since Abaddon has already teamed, I kind of like that graveyard shift team. Let's keep it Abaddon and Thunder Rosa. I think that would be great and very compelling, because look at this. Look at the dart. And once again, wasn't this we're revisiting this feud again, because they had that match already.
All right.
So
I think that's a good baseline to get our first round brackets in. Let us know what you think. We're going to post it online as well, and let us know your feedback. We'll also make this another clip, a side clip, so we can have it and talk it through, and you guys can all revisit this. But
I'm
we're gonna start doing
one
that.
change.
Yeah, what's your change?
Gonna make one change. I think Kira Hogan and Red Velvet deserve a spot over Rio and Yuka. That Rio has been sporadic. Yuka we hadn't seen in a long time.
Okay.
And Red Velvet and Kira Hogan have been hustling. So I'm just gonna put them there.
I support it.